Hi everybody, my name is Elisha Harrington. I am the APJ Innovation Officer here at ServiceNow, and it's my absolute pleasure to be joined by Tom Thomson, who is the CEO of C1Secure. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about yourself, your business, and your partnership with ServiceNow.
We've been a partner with ServiceNow since the mid-2000s, and the way that we were first exposed to the program is we launched and had offerings in the U.S. federal space. So we started using the platform ourselves as a means to do continuous monitoring and vulnerability and security management. Through that experience, we became familiar with the platform and found our way into the totality of the ServiceNow ecosystem. My company is kind of special from the standpoint that I have some of my children and my son-in-law working in the business, so we're truly a family business and part of the ServiceNow family as well. And we really appreciate the partnership. We operate in 3 different modalities with ServiceNow. First is as a consulting and implementation partner. Second, as a managed service provider, where we manage and operate our own instances of the platform in highly regulated environments. And then the third modality, which we're most excited about, is we're a technology build partner as well. And especially now in the age of agentic AI, we're working to help bring those capabilities to life on our own version of the platform as well as with ServiceNow customers.
That's just incredible, and great to know that there is just incredible expertise at your business, and thank you for your partnership. Now, when we think about the challenges and pain points that you're solving for customers across different industries, could you just describe how uniquely positioned with your solutions and how you're really solving some of those challenges?
Most of our customers operate in highly regulated environments, whether those are governments or standards from a compliance and regulatory standpoint that find their way into other industry verticals. We bring unique expertise to that experience because we do own and operate the platform ourselves. All of our people are not only certified on the platform, but bring practitioners' expertise to solving those compliance and regulatory problems. So things like US FedRAMP, right, where we help customers go through that compliance process, get up and running, not only achieve their authority to operate, but operationalize how they maintain compliance to those standards on an ongoing basis through the use of the ServiceNow platform. The other thing that we do as it relates to AI and implementation of AI to help optimize those kind of programs is we don't look at AI as kind of a blanket implementation of a technology or capability, but we really work with those customers to look at what their workflows look like, what their challenges are from an operational standpoint, and we look at specific opportunities in those workflows to shorten cycle times, reduce the burden associated with sprawl of data, right, not being organized, and the ServiceNow platform helps us do that amazingly well.
Incredible value proposition and how you're really tackling those challenges. Now, when we think about customers and they're building those foundations, what's the C1Secure approach to really getting them started, and what does good look like?
I think what's special about how we approach the implementation with our customers is we're not done when the technology is simply stood up and running, right? Our job kind of starts at that point in time, and we work very hard over longer periods of time with the customers to make sure we go through the organizational change management process and that they get the business outcomes that they're really looking for, and that's how we measure success.
If you could bring this to life in a customer example, that would just be incredible to share with the audience, you know, some of the results they're seeing.
Yeah, well, one that I'm thinking about in particular is for a large institution that has to manage the compliance posture and the ongoing reporting associated with the U.S. federal CMMC standard, right, which is applied to all government contractors, right? And in this particular situation, the client that we were working with has to manage and authorize and have audited over 1,000 systems on an ongoing basis. So a large compliant organization, highly complex different systems, and they were doing that largely with spreadsheets, some cobbled together older systems, a little bit of the ServiceNow platform, but not done in a out-of-the-box fashion that took advantage of all the key capabilities that the platform has to offer. So we went through a modernization activity to bring them back to the core foundational elements of the ServiceNow platform, and then worked with both their compliance teams and their control owner teams to know and understand what that process looked like and why it was taking them an inordinate amount of time, 50 days sometimes, to go through an attestation process. So what we did is we put in automated workflows, infused AI in the appropriate steps in the process where in that assurance process, control assurance process, quite often there's this dance that takes place between control owners that don't know much about how to write good control statements, how to talk about inherited controls, how to map those properly into the system, and then the compliance people, and because they were doing it in this fragmented, disoriented way, the cycle time associated with the back and forth that occurs to try to get those things right results in inordinate amount of time to complete this function. So we looked at appropriate spots in the workflow, introduced agentic AI, took things that were 50-day cycle times down to 5, right? We got that kind of improvement. And the other thing that took place as a result of that is we simplified what the control relationships looked like so that there are patterns now captive in the platform that can be applied on all new systems that they do, further simplifying what goes on in that function.
That was a great example to bring it to life for everybody. Now, when we think about C1Secure's approach to AI, can you just shed a light on that for a moment?
Obviously, as you know, we all know, there's a lot of hype in the marketplace, right? And we look for practical applications of the capabilities that AI brings to us, right? So we don't look at it as a feature, and we're not working with our customers to implement AI per se in a broad way, right? We're looking at the work functions that are being performed, as we did internally in our own business, in our own operations first, right? So we could experiment, we could learn, we could get our people certified, we learned what worked, what didn't, and then as we started working with our customers, we looked at the specific workflows around risk and security, and we looked for opportunities that would appropriately apply AI to improving that business operation and helping our customers really get improvements that they were looking for, not for AI's sake per se, but for the sake of becoming better businesses using AI as one of the things that we can help bring to life.
Tom, they're great examples and very real challenges for our customers. Could you give reference to an example that you could give where that's really playing out in a particular organization?
Yeah, let's go back to the case study we were talking about a minute ago. Typically in organizations like that, and it happens to be a customer who builds and sells these systems externally, that compliance function typically is viewed as a bottleneck and a barrier to accelerating sales, right, for that organization. So it's not just about the internal controls and taking care of things from an internal standpoint, right? Although we do get operational improvements through that process, the other big accelerator is we're able to help customers like that take that function and now turn it into the wind at the business's back, as opposed to being a barrier to accelerated growth. So the compliance organization actually goes from conducting a checkbox exercise and slowing things down to being able to participate with the business in the external acquisition of new customers and new business, and that's completely transformational. And it's all done on the ServiceNow platform with the introduction of agentic AI.
I like what you said there, because it's often seen as governance as a de-accelerator, right, in a lot of cases.
100%.
And that's what the business complains about, right?
Yeah.
Constantly, is that, well, we've got to go through our, especially I work with a lot of banks in Asia Pacific. Sure. We've got to go to these risk committees. It's going to take 3 month cycle to
you
go
avoid
to
it
market
at all
with a
costs,
product.
right?
That's right. Like, we're going to lose customers from this, but how do we turn risk to proactive and partnering with the business, which you referenced? So, yeah, I talk to a lot of risk executives, and they're talking about how do we do that?
Right. Yeah.
And I think part of that is technology, but probably part of that is also culture change, shifting the alignment with stakeholders.
It is, and people can't see it until you show them that it happens a different way, right? If they don't have the tools, they don't have the platform, they don't even see what's going on from the other side, right? So the systems, as they're set up initially, quite often have all the constructs that are required, but what'll typically happen is that a compliance organization will be sitting there waiting for a response from somebody that doesn't even know where to start. So some of the agentic capabilities that we put together are actually, we term them coaches or assistants, right? So if I'm a control owner and I have to write a set of proper controls around some things that I'm responsible for and I don't even know where to start, AI gives me the start to that, and it guides me through the process and shows me if I've constructed a proper set of control statements or not. And that can happen now without this back and forth dance that we talked about that takes days, weeks, and months, and turn it into a 5-minute exercise.
Yeah, I think that's great, because another point is, what good is policies sitting on the shelf that are static, outdated, maybe retrospective?
Right.
The pace of regulatory change is hitting organizations
Right.
hard and fast.
Yeah.
So within your solutions, you can almost dynamically affect those changes,
Right.
controls,
Yeah.
procedures,
Yeah.
so that we can operate at the pace that the business needs to
Right.
operate at.
And then that simplification ripples across every function that touches those governance control frameworks, right? What impact does it have on annual audits and attestation cycles, where the evidence that's required to complete a proper attestation against a control is now already available? And through the passes that we make on an ongoing basis and the way that we capture what those good results look like on the platform, those results are then available to make even further improvements and tighten the process even more. So there's this additive effect on an ongoing basis, a flywheel of sorts, right? In AI vernacular, not to overuse that, but each pass of the process now, with the capabilities on the platform and the AI tools that we have, allow us to get better and better and better. And that happens in the operational context of the work that the people are doing every day already, right? So it's not some special exercise where we're going to go teach AI something or build something new. It's like we're going to do our job and we're going to conduct those workflows, and every time we do it, we get better and better optimization of how those things are going to work and take place.
And now, when we think about the real advice for leaders and the call to action, what would you like to say to the audience?
To start with, everybody's been talking a lot about governance and making sure we understand what's going on with AI. ServiceNow gives us the perfect platform to do that, right? With the capabilities that already existed with integrated risk management and security operations, then the AI control tower, right, which gives full visibility to AI throughout the enterprise, and now with the addition of Armis to fully understand all the assets that make up all the systems in the enterprise, and then with Veza to understand the identities, not only the identities, but the identities of all the people in the organization, all the non-human identities in the organization, and then and exactly what they have not only access to, but what actions can be taken on the data and the objects in our systems environment, right? But tying those things together. And now what we bring to the party, right, from a partnership standpoint, is we really think about those controls we talked about before and control coherence in something we call the smart control fabric, which allows organizations on an ongoing basis to understand in the specific industry verticals that they're operating in, that they're doing it not only effectively and taking advantage of the capabilities of AI and the platform, but they're doing it in a governed fashion, in a secure fashion, both inside the organization and relative to the regulatory and authoritative bodies that they're accountable to in their specific industry.